Hey everybody, I'm Astro Brie, and this is a video on Aries rising. We're going to talk about the ruler, your ruler, Mars. What it's like to have Mars, the ruler of your chart, in the different houses. So the first house would be Aries, and therefore you're very much personifying the archetype of the warrior, the go-getter, the beginner, the initiator. Initiator is a really good word. Some of the astrological texts that I have read have spoken about how, yes, Mars has this and Aries has this Aries energy of breaking through things and busting down things and acting and thinking later. There's also an archetype of the green man, which, as some of the more magical practitioners will know, the green man is the energy of nature itself bursting through the ground. It's the same frequency of the warrior to bust open the seed and break through the earth and push through to the sunlight. That's that Aries energy. Likely someone with a more sexual energy in the confidence without recognizing they're confident. These people, Aries rising with Mars in the first house, are the archetype of Aries. So they're very much going to be comfortable with the Aries persona of the warrior, and they're going to be very comfortable with how people are attracted to them. So Mars in the second house for Aries rising. This is very interesting. So Mars in the second house, you're going to take on some of the more grounded qualities of the second house. Your voice is going to be the thing that people recognize the most. You're either going to have a very powerful voice or a very cutting sound to your voice. You may have sharp edges on the ends of your vowels and your syllables. Focus in your life on money and possessions and income and assets. That's where your drive is. That's where you get that confidence to break through and break ground in your life with. Mars in the third house is a beautiful energy, especially for Aries rising, because not only are you very confident in how you speak and how you act, you have developed this in previous lifetimes, but now you're very confident in where you can go to, moving around and being in communication and in connection and having the answers for things is something that you pride yourself on. It's something that you can regularly get comfortable personifying, is being that local celebrity, being that person who people speak about. There's also a big focus on early life when it comes to schooling and the education process. So it may be that you have been a thorn in the side of some teachers, but because you existed, that teacher may have changed their teaching abilities or may have changed their teaching prerogatives. You are a breakthrough to everyone you meet in your younger life, especially your siblings and your neighbors. If you have Mars in the fourth house and you're an Aries rising, you're going to have a hard experience in your early life when it comes to your mother. The upbringing may have been tenacious. There may have been either a competitive edge or an altogether violent experience in early childhood. This is meant to rip you from your roots so that you can go out into the world and do something very different and very unseen to your lineage. That's why the ruler of your first house showed up in the house of ancestors. But also privacy will be something that's not guaranteed for you. It's almost like you would like to have a private life, but instead everyone knows your secrets. Your temper is something that you're known for. Even though you try to keep it to yourself or try to keep it private, it seems to affect your reputation. This is because the 10th house sits from the 4th. If you have Mars in the 5th house and you're an Aries rising, this is a beautiful example of having a very competitive edge when it comes to lovers. You're almost tenaciously attracted to the idea of being the best lover in the experience of the people that you connect with. You may be very competitive, especially when it comes to sports. It may be that athletic ability is something that you develop over time as you get more comfortable, but creativity in general is your passion, and you want to be known and be seen for that. Having Mars in the 5th house means that it's reflected in the sun sign. So you're also going to look to the sun sign because this is the house of Leo on an Aries rising chart. If you have Mars in the 6th house and you're an Aries rising, this would put Mars in Virgo for you. When Mars is in Virgo, there may be some health issues. It may be some physical issues, but also mental health is going to be reflected here. You may either have some phobias about your health. You may be a bit of a hypochondriac. There could be focus on OCD. You're going to want to make sure that you're doing internal work to figure out how the mental energy becomes a physical frequency. This is a big focus. I see this a lot in the clients that have nurse work as one of their careers. Also people who are counselors, helpers, supporters, and sometimes managers, but it's likely not the highest manager. If you have Mars in the 7th house of Libra, you see a debilitated Mars here with Aries rising. This may mean that relationships are not always the easiest thing for you, but you definitely have a lot of them. You definitely run through them and you personify. There could be codependence here. Personify with the relationship you're in. It may be that you get attached to the people that you're connected with, and there is a deep sense of identity that you find in partnership, and therefore you fight for it a lot. There's a lot of protection. Advocate for your partners, and this could be business partners, but this shows up a lot in relationship. When it comes to marriage, you may find that you go through a lot of marriages, or you have more than 3 marriages. This is not a bad thing. It just means that you're clearing out karma with every different connection. If you have Mars in the 8th house and you're an Aries rising, this is a transcendent energy for you. It sits naturally in the Scorpio house for an Aries rising. So there's going to be a big focus on psychological warfare. Right from early childhood, right into adulthood, there's going to be a huge focus on how do I transform this frequency of paranoia into something good. I see this a lot in psychics with Aries rising. People who have transmuted this fear, this phobia that naturally sits there when it comes to sharing resources or sharing secrets. They have elevated that frequency and that sensitivity that they naturally have when it comes to knowing other people's traumas and feeling other people's pain. They've transmuted it into being a psychic or a helper or a therapist. Excellent for doctors as well. If you have Aries rising and you have Mars sitting in your 9th house, this is a very exciting personification with a little bit of a Sagittarius flip. So on a Aries rising, you have Sagittarius as your natural 9th house, especially for Aries rising. So having this means that you're very convicted and you're very driven to find your religion, your personal philosophy, your relationship to God, your relationship to the divine. And seeking this may look like going international with your travels. It may look like exploring the world and being someone who wants to investigate and understand and uncover the secrets of the universe through travel and connection to other people. It's likely that you're going to, from an early age, visualize and dream about different places you could be and different things you could do, and have a plethora of interest and intrigue when it comes to world religions. If you have Mars in the 10th house for an Aries rising, that's Capricorn, and it's a very exalted Mars. You are career driven. You are the career kid. You're the one that knew what they wanted to do when they were little and were happy to do it. Now, this may be a career in family. This may be that you want to be the head of a household. However, most of the time it's public recognition. You want to be known for your tenacity, your ability to know the secrets, your ability to answer problems and quickly initiate things. You also want to be the starter. You want to be known for somebody who breaks open something. An entrepreneur, but it can also look like becoming a CEO of multi-billion-dollar companies. This is an excellent placement, by the way. And if you have Mars in the 11th house for Aries rising, this sits in Aquarius, you are known as the arguer. I know a lot of people who say Aquarius is the humanitarian, but Aquarius makes a great lawyer because these people have a detached sense, ability. And finally, if you have Mars in the 12th house for an Aries rising, this is the house of retreat, escape, release, unconscious, spirituality. I see this a lot in psychic people, psychic mediums. I see this a lot with my clients who have lost a lot of people. I experienced a lot of release from their lineage and their family roots, and they're finally in the lifetime to experience a more spiritual side, a more devoted to God side, not to seek God, but to become one's own spiritual plethora. This can be a very hard placement to have because you're so far removed from your physical body. In your identity, and how you personify is very much detached from how you embody yourself. This is seen in a lot of people who have moved to international places. They find a lot more comfort in their pursuits and in their identity, and being comfortable being the fish out of water.